outside right now, and this is Old Orchard Beach for the Abalona Inn. A spot that will be quite busy over the next several days. You got to find a place to have fun, right? Number one, and also find a place to cool down in the Atlantic Ocean. Around 62-degree water temperature will certainly cool you down for sure. But let's go from there to the Portland Jetport, where you can see both skies looking pretty nice. You can see the tarmac there,
it's bright this morning, huh?
West End there, also peeking out.
5:49
what's going
here.
on right now. Current conditions in at 61 degrees for the Portland Jetport.
It's really bright.
Winds are very light, and it feels like temperature not a big issue because the dew point is down at this hour as well. So we're looking good to start off our day. Let's take a look at what's going on elsewhere. Temperatures right now in Bath at 59. Cape Elizabeth, clear skies, 58 degrees. We have clear skies in Bethel, but 64. And Old Orchard Beach and Livermore coming in at 58 degrees. High temperatures today should get up to about 91 degrees in Freiburg. So Western Maine into Conway, you're in the low 90s today. You kind of kick off that heat wave day one today. 88 in Bethel, certainly going to feel like it's in the 90s in these locations as the humidity builds today. 87 in Augusta. It's a little cooler. You can see the wind direction coming off that 61-degree ocean water temperature now. So the mid-coast areas kind of get that natural air conditioning going on. So here's a look at our 8-day forecast. We got 4 in a row impact weather. It could have been 5. If you're in western Maine and areas of northern New Hampshire, you have impact weather for today. There's an isolated chance late today for a stronger thunderstorm. But most of us stay dry. Looking at 82 at the coastline, but significantly, as we just showed you, warmer inland. Tomorrow, even at the coast, 93. We're talking 97 at the coast on Thursday, and then Friday, 96 degrees. That's why we have an extreme heat watch. All right, let's talk about those storms. I want to show you these storms first. So today, again, mostly sunny skies, but then by late afternoon, early evening, we even have to watch New Hampshire and maybe clipping York and Oxford counties here with a thunderstorm early. Then here comes that warm front starting the real big heat wave for all of us. And overnight, there can be a cluster of showers and thunderstorms that move through. So we'll keep an eye on that. But by tomorrow, though, it's all in on the sun, hazy, hot, and humid. High temperatures reaching near 100 degrees in Freiburg, 93 in Portland. These are the actual temperatures, not the feels-like temperatures. Let's talk a little bit about the comfort cast. Today, very humid. Tomorrow, miserable. Miserable on Thursday and miserable on Friday. That is how we judge the dew point, where it's in the mid-70s, and how it feels, and it's what it will feel like, miserable. Because much of the big cities already in an extreme heat warning. For Maine and New Hampshire, we're under an extreme heat watch. That means high heat and high humidity combined can feel like 105 to 110 degrees, dangerously hot and humid weather Wednesday afternoon through Friday evening. Our forecast heat index for tomorrow gets up to 102 in Naples by 1 o'clock, 100 in Portland, and even 94 in Augusta. The mid-coast, you got that sea breeze really helping you out there. And again, as we look at the rest of the 8-day forecast, again, for inland areas, we got a chance for maybe a couple of thunderstorms, but generally that will be very early. And again, when you have heat and humidity like this, you could always have a pop-up thunderstorm. So that is always a case. But you can see it's 90s all the way through the 4th of July inland. It's going to be quite muggy with a chance for thunderstorms during the afternoon that will help break the humidity. Here's a look at your 8-day for coastal areas. Again, even the coast gets to 97, so that's the day where I think everywhere it could feel like 105 to 110.
A Bridgeton man convicted of killing his girlfriend learns his fate. Eric Knight sentenced to 48 years behind bars. Police say Knight and Benita Preo were in a relationship and lived together in a rented home. 2 days after Thanksgiving, police found Preo's body. The next-door neighbor said Preo came running for help on a couple of occasions weeks before the murder. Preo's daughters were in the courtroom for the hearing.
I just wanted to let you know here personally that you took something away from me that I have been praying for my whole life. And I honestly hope it's brought.
The jury found Knight guilty back in April. Prosecutors asked for a sentence of 53 years given his lengthy criminal history. Knight's defense wanted a sentence more in line with manslaughter.
Now the polls have closed, the fans have decided. Envelope please. Our spring Travie winners are... From baseball, Noble second baseman Cole Gorman covers some serious ground to snag the pop-up and then fires home to get the runner tagging from third. In softball, Westbrook's Emma Boulette, the shortstop, starts the double play with a glove flip to second for the out. Girls lacrosse, Wyndham's Brooklyn Roy, some pretty passing on the give and go, and she finishes for the goal. And in boys lacrosse, it's Jace Paquette of Thornton Academy, the cool scoop one-timer for the goal. The spring Travie winners. Very close races, but I think the voters did a pretty good job. Some good stuff there.
Yeah, good walk back and look back down memory lane at some big moments there, Travis. Thank you.
Lots of talent.
Well,
Senator Susan Collins delivers from Maine, bringing $190 million for rural hospitals and health centers. And Senator Collins co-sponsored the Halt Fentanyl Act, cracking down on drug traffickers, keeping Mainers safe. Susan Collins also voted for national voter ID, protecting our elections from fraud. Senator Susan Collins, delivering on rural health care, delivering tougher penalties on drug traffickers, delivering on securing our elections, delivering results for Maine.
Maine's rural hospitals are struggling, but Senator Susan Collins came to the rescue, delivering critical federal funding for upgraded facilities and life-saving diagnostic equipment. Susan Collins does her job, and our hospitals benefited. Call and thank her for delivering for Maine.
well, if you're watching the calendar, you know the 4th of July is coming right up, happening on Saturday, and also marking this year our nation's 250th birthday.
And what's a celebration and a parade without a marching band? That is the Sanford High School Marching Band. On Friday, these 40 band members and their chaperones will travel to Philadelphia for that city's Salute to Independence Parade. Then on Saturday, the band will be in our nation's capital, marching in the National Independence Day Parade. They tell us they are ready for this incredible experience.
I'm really proud that these students are taking that opportunity. A lot of these kids aren't students who participate in our marching band, so they just, do regular concert band, which usually doesn't involve putting on the uniform and going outside in hot weather.
Wow. The band will cap off their trip on Saturday by watching the National Symphony Orchestra on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, followed by the nation's largest fireworks display. Quite the trip ahead of them.
Yeah, it sounds like it. What an experience and an opportunity there.
Happening right now, the search for survivors continuing in Venezuela after 2 powerful earthquakes last week. 140 search dogs from nearly 24 countries working day and night to find those who are trapped. New video here showing a mother and her 18-year-old newborn daughter pulled from underneath their apartment building after being trapped for 32 hours, both now in stable condition. Just under 50,000 others remain missing, hundreds more injured or killed in those earthquakes.
And now a southern Maine chef is doing what she can to help. Ilma Lopez was born in Venezuela and now owns 2 restaurants here in Portland, The Ugly Duckling and Shovel. She is collecting donations to help those impacted by the earthquakes.
It's like you have a country that is already so poor and so desperate, and then you add this on top of it. I know this is nothing compared to what they need in the country, but every little bit counts. Like, this is like a proof how amazing our community is. Like, this is Maine right there. Like, the community here is phenomenal, actually.
Lopez plans on sending out those supplies to Venezuela tomorrow.
In Lewiston, city councilors will soon vote on whether to make changes to a program that allows drug users access to clean needles.
Nora Hogan caught up with a woman who is calling for reform after getting stuck by a discarded needle.
Today, drug users in Lewiston can get access to nearly unlimited sterile needles to help prevent the spread of diseases like HIV and hepatitis. Recent medical studies show that sterile syringe programs do decrease disease transmission, but some locals say it's led to more discarded needles in the streets, worsening a public safety risk. As it stands today, the sterile syringe program in Lewiston allows people to get up to 100 needles a visit with no daily cap and doesn't require a one-to-one exchange. Former City Councilor Aaron Sewell collected hundreds of signatures and led a citizens initiative that would tighten the rules, creating a cap of 20 needles a day and requiring people to bring in 1 used needle for each clean one to incentivize people to discard of needles safely.
It is our future that we're talking about. I'm doing this for our children's children. I don't want them to have to raise my grandchildren in parks with needles, and it's unnecessary and it's just irresponsible.
Next Tuesday, July 7th, Lewiston City Councilors will decide whether to adopt the proposal or to send it to voters in November. In Lewiston, I'm Nora Hogan for Maine's Total Coverage.
Now to that major decision from the U.S. Supreme Court when it comes to how votes are counted.
The court ruling states can count absentee ballots that arrive after Election Day as long as they are postmarked before. Political reporter Jackie Mundry explains the current law in Maine.
In Maine, if you vote by absentee ballot, it has to arrive to your election officials
by election day. But in more than a dozen other states, that's not the case. It only has to be postmarked by election day and will still be counted when it arrives.
Back in March, President Trump issued this executive order.
While Maine is not one of the states affected by the Supreme Court decision, it could be affected by a March executive order signed by President Donald Trump.
The federal government has already tried to seize voter data rolls.
This is the case that Secretary of State Shannon Bellows has gone to court over, refusing to hand over the state's voter data. It's more than that. It would also mandate the United States Postal Service keep track of the voter rolls and make rules on mail-in and absentee ballots.
Asking the United States Postal Service to start tracking absentee ballots, denying absentee ballots if everything is not aligning on a voter list would create chaos.
The Supreme Court ruling on a case out of Mississippi where the Republican National Committee challenged the law, and ballots postmarked before Election Day will be counted in 13 states. Despite this ruling not having an impact on Maine, a spokesperson for the Maine Secretary of State's office says the office is, quote, heartened by the justices reconfirming that states have the constitutional right to administer and oversee elections, not the federal government. The League of Women Voters Maine chapter, a nonpartisan organization, says this is not the end of the road on this issue.
This executive order that came out in March is really trying to use this unconstitutional mechanism to limit mail-in voting. It would restrict across the board. It would disenfranchise likely millions of people across the states, thousands of people in Maine.
The closest state this ruling will impact is Massachusetts. In Portland, I'm Jackie Mundry for Maine's Total Coverage.
A Rockland man is accused of chasing down a jogger and then spraying her with pepper spray. Police in Rockland say they were called about a reported assault on Saturday morning. Officers say 37-year-old Nicholas Wallace chased the woman down after she jogged past him. He was then chased off by witnesses. Police say it appears the woman was targeted at random. Wallace is being held at the Two Bridges jail with multiple charges.
Senator Susan Collins delivers from Maine, bringing $190 million for rural hospitals and health centers. And Senator Collins co-sponsored the Halt Fentanyl Act, cracking down on drug traffickers, keeping Mainers safe. Susan Collins also voted for national voter ID, protecting our elections from fraud. Senator Susan Collins, delivering on rural health care, delivering tougher penalties on drug traffickers, delivering on securing our elections, delivering results for Maine.
Our leaders need to work across the aisle to get things done. And Senator Susan Collins does just that. She put Maine before party when she voted to protect the health coverage that thousands of Mainers depend on. Senator Collins stood up to her own party, voting to protect Congress's power to authorize extended military conflicts. Call and thank Senator Collins for having the courage to do what's right, and ask her to keep delivering bipartisan solutions for Maine.
The 4th of July, we know, is less than a week away, and as celebrations approach, Maine's Department of Public Safety wants to remind everyone of the state's fireworks laws. On the 4th, fireworks may be used from 9 a.m. until 12:30 in the morning. You must be 21 years old or older to buy and use fireworks, and they should only be used on your own property or where you have permission. They also say to keep a bucket of water or a garden hose nearby, never point fireworks at another person or building, and to clean up any debris after. Maine cities and towns across the state have ordinances that prohibit the use of fireworks, so you also want to check in with your town office.
Welcome back live at 7:26. A new poll by the New York Times and Portland Press Herald has Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner just barely in the lead in the race against Republican incumbent Susan Collins.
More than 600 likely voters were asked which candidate they would likely vote for if Election Day were held today. 49% of those respondents selected Plattner. 47% chose Collins. Both candidates have been trading accusations against one another. Most recently, Plattner accused Collins of giving her husband's lobbying firm federal contract.
Well, it's been nearly a year since the murder of 48-year-old Sunshine Stewart. Stewart went paddleboarding on Crawford Pond last July and never returned. Her body was found the next day on 100 Acre Island. Then 17-year-old Devin Young has been charged with her murder. Back in April, a judge ruling that Young is fit to stand trial. Today, Sonny's friends and family gathered in Augusta for a memorial, joining others who have lost loved ones to murder. Renata Schmidt leads us off.
How do you move on from this?
Days before the anniversary of Sunshine Stewart's murder, her family and friends gathering in Augusta to honor her memory, along with others affected by homicide. The Maine chapter of Parents of Murdered Children unveiling 18 new names inscribed in the Maine murder victims monument.
We really want people that have gone through similar experiences, horrific experiences that our families have, to know that there's people like us out there that understand the different kind of grief that homicide brings. Court dates, newspaper articles, it all brings that grief back freshly.
Other names at this rededication include Laverne Kelly, Ty Carter, and Robert Brusso.
Their families know that we're with them. We aren't going to forget their loved ones. We honor them, we remember them. They're inscribed on this stone, so anyone at any time can come and visit.
Family members and friends laying flowers beneath the memorial. Sunflowers for Sunny.
She was the family tent pole. She held us all up. She was, she was driven to achievement and honesty and making the world better.
Attendees using pencil and paper to carry their loved ones' names with them.
Just believe that there can be a better world.
The Parents of Murdered Children organizes the memorial and also hosts support groups and community events. You can find the Maine chapter on their website. For Maine's Total Coverage, I'm Renata Schmidt.
Today to enjoy the last day of the Oyster Festival. That's an annual event, and today, again, that's the last day, but lucky for you, admission is free if you want to check it out. That's happening up in Freeport with all the oysters you could ever want. There's Jacob Murphy live at the Oyster Festival. Jacob, what are you getting up to now?
I got my gloves on, so it's time to do some shucking, Jamie. That's going to be the big appeal of the festival today, is coming to try these fresh, raw oysters. And I'm joined by Ben this morning, who I actually spoke to last year, who taught me how to shuck an oyster. And I'm not sure if I quite remember everything that goes into the shucking process. I might have just gotten a little refresher before you guys came to us. So let's do a little tutorial for people at home to show them what goes into shucking an oyster.
All right, well, you need to start with the oyster, so grab a lovely looking oyster here. At the back of the oyster, there's a hinge, and there's a piece of cartilage that you need to break open. So you need to try to seat the tip of your knife by wiggling it in gently. You kind of want to get the oyster to do this, and the knife to do this, and then you're ready to try to pry that hinge open. And you do that by applying a little bit of forward pressure and then sort of leaning back on the oyster. Sometimes you'll just break the shell. You did better than I did. Wow. I gotta try this again.
Teacher.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
In Scarborough, a woman was found dead in the water near Pleasant Hill driving range after she was reported missing.
Why? They're probably playing that space game because I heard him go, what happened to the... Oh, or Minecraft. Yeah, I know. If it had been up to me, yeah, for sure. Would have been a little bit different for his activity there. Oh, yeah, but because of, powers that be and people's beliefs, we could only go along and allow for him to be on his computer 24/7. I mean, it's not that we allowed for it, we just don't put up too much of a stink. It's not up to us. If we had said anything, do you remember back 2019 when we mentioned that and the targeting on and offline and these 6 state workers and people fucking with them and sending in people to keep an eye on this, an eye on that, get the Karen, non-vaxxer bully. They have other groups targeting them to set them up for Other freak shows, accidentals. Yeah, some people have a big number over their head, don't they? For what reason? Especially some of our kids. Yeah, my youngest two have already been fucked and tortured for years by these punks, and these people like to act like they're being well taken care of. Right, so what's going on over here on this side of the door? Yeah, my oldest two, really sad. It is really sad. And when you see how people are so fucking gone in their selfish, evil bullshit and so worried about their stuff being exposed. I know, it's verbal abuse, isn't it? For us to tell you what sick motherfucking pieces of shit you are. And then they try to say, no, it's verbal abuse on my parents. We don't talk to them that way. We don't talk to anybody that way, actually. I mean, in normal settings, right? Yeah, I mean, there are times when you're dealing with sick criminals and people, and you need to say, hey, you want to wake the fuck up? You want to tell them their ignorance is getting a lot of innocent people killed? There are good forces all around the world pissed off about that shit in these communities here in America. I know, it seems like those people that are involved with that stuff are the ones that are putting fear into our parents and children about Russia and China and nukes and Kennedy, the race hate, the transgender stuff, over medicating them. Don't let them tell you what to do, right? Putting them in fear that they might have a Karen for a parent. Right, a lot of innocent kids have gotten killed, and adults, with these games being played on and offline, you know, keeping an eye on them, poking and prodding. Medication time. So sick what they've been doing. And then the vaccines, and then get them home 24/7 so you can fuck with them some more. Gotta check these teachers out too, huh? We'll pose as 13-year-old girls and see what teachers bite at the bait. Okay. You want to help the fucking hostages here? That these business people, the funding you get to do those bullshit fucking investigations? Yeah, that funding you get? And the funding you get to go after the child pedo producers? Get the watchers. I know it's a big business, isn't it, for both professionals and the kiddos on the street with their YouTube channels. You motherfuckers around here need to wake the fuck up. Fucking verbal abuse. Get the fuck out of here with your bullshit. The proper authorities in Augusta, Maine need to help these children that have been fucked and tortured for years by these punks that make child and animal abuse and have fed it out to many groups. 2012 to 2016, a lot of it got fed out to you guys. Believe me, that shit's been a big concern to a lot of our forces for a long time. When you go back to the 90s and 80s, if you remember the jerk games and the gotcha games, how a lot of shit got snuffed out back then with the Clintons and all that bullshit. People from the Clinton administration, was it just an era? I mean, they're really, when you look into it, not doing too much themselves. They're just the spokespeople. Right, I mean, they get a lot of important people on those planes to go to fundraisers. Right? Kevin Spacey? Right, so we've already learned all of these things. And when you look at how a lot of that got covered up, over the years, it seems like a lot of the worst abuse when it comes to the fraud and the child and animal abuse and those kind of businesses, it seems like it always gets snuffed out by teeny boppers and these young men and women that want to say they were molested or touched or raped by someone on Epstein Island. Kevin Spacey touched my knee in a bar. Russell Brand raped me at a rave when I was... No, it didn't rape me. It was consensual, but it was only 16. Okay, so that was legal there. I know, just the whole joke and facade people are playing. I know, right? And then Russell Brand and Ruben are sitting there talking. Well, if Charlie gets killed, we'll know it's real. Huh. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, so when you look at all these business people, popular people, very successful people, I wouldn't call it success, but I mean some do because they're popular and have money. So I guess to some people that means success. Right, and if you don't have a lot of money and likes, then you must not be a successful person. You shouldn't listen to anything they say. They're probably lying because they're not successful. Success? I don't know. In my eyes, when it comes to success, we're like the most successful people in the whole entire universe. Yeah, I mean, you can't get much higher. And there are many others that I'm sure who feel the same way, and I think that's beautiful. Right? It doesn't get much better than this. Yeah, I mean, everybody has a right to feel that way, don't they? It's not being conceited, going up on a high horse, claiming to be God. Even though you are. My phone is God. My cup of water is God. My computer is God. The sun is God. You got a problem? 'Cause you are the sun, little darling. You are the sun. Got a problem? You got a problem, and let me fucking tell you something else. Yeah, so it's really sad to see a lot of those people here in America that profit from a lot of those things. They don't like to look at it. Right. I mean, you can sit around. You're a good person. The investigations, the targeting, and the watching of people, it was all justified, okay? You don't have to go around. That's what they've been doing is, see, look, they're dangerous. See, they're schizo. See, we did have to keep an eye on them. See, their parents were really concerned. See. Right, so when you see that that's what's been going on in a lot of these cases before and after this one, and that a lot of good forces are fucking pissed, and they're so fucking sick of your nasty childish bullshit. Do you understand that? I know, please. I heard Jimmy Dore talking about that last night. I know, and now we're going off again with the eccentric dances. And yeah, what's her name said something about the Haitians. Haiti, go back home! Yelling and screaming like the stupid druggies with the packies back around what time. So just so people understand, you can go ahead and do that and try to say you're right about this or that. Shut the fuck up. Why don't you bring clarity and understanding to what's actually been happening? They try to drop tidbits. You know, like Jimmy's like, oh, the factory. And then they hired all the Haitians because people are so drugged up they can't work. Exactly. Yeah, so back 2005, 6, 7, remember them coming around Livermore Falls area and stuff. Remember the factories all shutting down? Different ones. Right, because even the factory owners were telling the rich business guys. I was in some of those conversations, you know that, right? I was standing right next to you, dude. Wow. Anyways, so some of the factory owners and some of the business people were like, they were fed up because the workers, I know, it just, yeah, they couldn't keep up with the work. Half of them couldn't do it. They were getting sued by people for getting hurt on the job. And technically they shouldn't have been working because they were taking medications that say you can't operate heavy machinery. So yeah, I mean, in those situations, the owner of the place is screwed because technically they'd be the ones to get sued by who? Some bigger company like, yeah, the state or some kind of rights activist group would have sued them for putting others in danger by hiring people they're not supposed to hire. Right. Well, in that case, then, aren't there a lot of people driving who shouldn't be driving because it says not to operate heavy machinery? A car is not considered machinery, right? Right, so they're talking about forklifts and conveyor belts kind of stuff. Tractors, yeah, that kind of stuff, sure. Cranes. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be operating a crane if you're taking those medications. And where they've been pushing that shit out so much. I know a lot of times, even if someone's not prescribed it to them, yeah, I know they're slipping it into people's stuff that they know have to do an important job. And then they don't know what the fuck happened. They're trying to freaking push the buttons. Why do you keep missing the button, dude? I'm trying to hit it. I'm trying to hit the button. I keep missing it. Are you okay? Did you take something? Hold on. Right, I know. And now this guy's getting fired. They test his system. Dude, I know. And he's trying. Yeah, okay, they all say they didn't take it. It wasn't theirs. They didn't know. Yeah, that's what they all say. You're not going to play stupid. Everyone tries to play stupid. I know, can you imagine someone in that situation? What a nightmare. Like, they know they didn't take anything, and they actually take pride in not taking anything. Right? No, they actually feel good about themselves, that they can handle those things without depending on a pill, very strong chemicals that are very dangerous, that can kill you, that can kill other people pretty easily, overdosed on. Yeah, it's quite sad, isn't it? It's quite sad. So yeah, they are glad and happy that they don't have to take something that's so dangerous that can kill them or kill somebody else. Yeah, actually, people die from it every day. Yeah, and a lot of them, they'll crush it up. As I mean, it doesn't take much. You look at a 1 month supply, of an SSRI or an antidepressant, anything really, a blood thinner, heart medication. I know, you crush that shit up, you put it in someone's drink. People die all the time from that shit. Have medical emergencies, crane accidents. Right, I know, and we've seen people get in trouble, go to jail, and lose their jobs, and they didn't even do anything, and they're good people. And people were fucking with them. They either wanted their job, or they were just trying to prove that people who don't take medications should take them. Oh, see, the one who doesn't take medications had whatever. It's so stupid. It's so stupid and sick and disgusting and disturbing, the level of insanity, and how people have been seeing this for years, and the education of those things helps to prevent it. And for some reason, everybody wants to play the don't educate anybody, keep it all a secret, do little private investigations. And yeah, the shit they've been doing with our kids on and offline is so fucking disgusting and disturbing. It makes me so sad. It makes me so sad what's going on here. And in other places where you have some serious abuse going on, and citizens so fucking caught up in themselves, evil, nasty fucking people that are protecting these pedophiles and murderers. Right, so when you understand the hostage situations, what do you have for a suggestion as to how we can help get those children away from those sick fucks? Because that's what needs to be done. And these people should be thrown in jail for life, because that's what should be done. And when you understand we can't do that, what are you going to do to help bring awareness, clarity, and understanding to help those hostages? And to help people understand how that child and animal abuse and pornography has been fed out to a lot of your investigative teams and friends and buddies and child pedo producers and chasers. Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, how much those motherfuckers know about this shit, and the fact that they've been stringing people along with their fucking games and promoting the drugs and the fighting and the bullshit. They're gonna make you eat maggots! I know, you get them putting fear in people about the vegans. And who else? Right, and then you get the other ones, Nazis! Right, and they all call each other, oh, they're stupid for saying Nazis. Oh, they're stupid for fearing the non-vaxxers. Oh, they're stupid for, angry vegans. I know, and then when you look at what happened with the whole thing, it got to the point where you had this big muscle, angry vegan dude who wants to talk to Joe Rogan. Think about it, you guys. Grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up! Well, I don't want to grow up because I'm a Toys R Us kid, you know? You gotta be young at heart. Right, so hopefully the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to help these children. Because it's really, really sad, sick and disgusting and disturbing what's being ignored here. I sure hope so. Yeah, I really hope so. Yeah, when you understand the viscosity there. I know Fox News, Tucker Carlson, the activist groups. State of Maine, the good old state of Maine. What's going on in Maine? I'll see you in court. Right, the transgender bullshit, the fucking governor, and the fucking bullshit state workers and some of the nasty teachers working together to get the hicks, the problems. I know, I can go back in all these different eras and spaces of time and remind you when they were going after people and saying shit and tearing them down. And how people went along with that. Yeah, get them. Right, and then those ones started to feel bad. Like, well, I wanted you to just give them a noogie. I didn't realize that kind of shit was seeping through. Right, and then those people are at it with each other. Not wanting them to know they were just trying to give them noogies. Because if they find out they're trying to give them noogies, they don't want heat from those people and blah, blah, blah. And that's how it goes in these situations. And we can show you very big level specific situations around here that opened and closed a lot of doors. We don't fucking care about any of that bullshit, okay? We're trying to help our children, and it is sad what people have put us through and our children using our disabilities and vulnerabilities and histories to profit with you fucking nasty business people and news people, church-going fucking nasty pieces of shit. Say your prayers, little ones. Much love, health, and peace, all proper authorities. Augusta, Maine, Governor Hill Mansion, you need to help these kids. I'm going to go make my coffee. It's a beautiful morning. And then, let's see. We'll finish listening to some morning news, yeah, and then go to music.
A woman was found dead in the water near Pleasant Hill driving range after she was reported missing earlier. 47-year-old Betty Riley of Westbrook was last seen walking along the water's edge at the range on Sunday afternoon when she disappeared. Dive teams responded to the scene and located Riley in a